Good morning, this is TK50721 or Jen Air on both the Rebel Legion and 501st forums, and I had a request to show how I do my hair buns for the iconic Leia hairstyle. So here we go, and if we're lucky we will not get loud barks from my dog in the background because he tends to bark at everything. Alright, so I started out, I brushed my hair out pretty well. I usually use a comb to do the part in the back, but I think that's packed in my trooping bag, so I just used one of these really big 3-inch hairpins. You want a lot of hairpins. I'm only going to show you how I do one side, so this other side I'm just going to put in quick ponytail so it's out of the way, and that's usually what I do anyway, so that's out of the way. So I like these really thick big ponytails because I have lots of hair. When you're putting your hair in these, I kind of find it helps to lean. I'm not as worried about getting these areas super smooth when it gets close to the ponytail because a lot of that is going to be covered up by the buns. The most important part is to get the ponytail, the pigtail I guess, right up over your ear. And make lots of faces while you are attempting this feat. Yeah, if I had a comb, I'd comb that down and it'd stay. No, I'll do it again. Because actually, I didn't have it quite as far forward as I wanted. Alright, that'll work. And then sometimes I'll do that, pull it to get it a little closer. Alright, so I have really thick hair and a lot of it. So what I tend to do is I put my hair in braids and have a base bun underneath my extensions. I've seen a version, maybe I'll find a link, where what she does is she wraps the extensions around here and then incorporates her hair into the base, but I haven't tried that. So what I do is I divide my pigtail in two, and I'm going to braid each of these. And this is where, if we're lucky, I'll play with video editing software and speed this up. I tend to use the little ouchless invisible hair ties for this. These don't have to be perfect, but it does help if you can braid as low as possible because then it's easier to tuck in. And I don't really care about that little bit that's poking out. Now I'm doing the second half. Last weekend I initially tried making these with, I think, 4 little braids, but it didn't actually help get a flatter, smaller base bun, and it just ended up using way more bobby pins, which you can buy by the pound. So I am now hairpins by the pound. So I now ordered a lot more hairpins because I almost ran out. Again, I've got the little parts sticking out, and I don't really care because those are going to get tucked in, but I do like to braid as far down as I can. And I use the little invisible ones. Okay, so now I'm going to wrap these around, trying to get them pretty flat. So I don't know if I can get closer. It's hard when you have dark hair. So I pulled this down flat because that's the one that will lay a little flatter. I'm pulling it back around my head, holding it flat, and now I'm bringing this underneath my ears and tucking it under where it started. If your hair is the same length as mine, that'll work. If it's shorter, this will probably actually be easier. So these are pretty much your best friends, and the key is you want to weave them in and out. So I'm sticking this in the hair at my scalp, weaving it up a little bit into the braid, probably somewhere in there it's through that bottom braid I tucked under, and now that one's in there. You can see it's coming up, it was coming up a little at the top. It's also, I can feel it, this is coming out a little at the back. So I'm gonna get another one and weave that in. This is also gonna help anchor the extension up here. All right, so now this next one, I might actually do this one. Yeah. So this next one, I'm bringing down and just wrapping forward and tucking the back inside and underneath. These are not going to be visible. So I'm going to start with the back. Hearing is surprisingly difficult once you've got the full-on buns. So if I can avoid covering them with my ears with my real hair. Oh, I found a slightly smaller pin, so I'll use that here just to help keep that. All right, that's pretty flat. And that's part sticking out. And I might, if I have a really small hairpin, I might tuck in some random pieces just in case. All right, this is usually what I'll do this on both sides and hope they're even. This is usually what my hair looks like when I go to a troupe, and actually often I'll wear one of my shirts and whatever. So there is a chance of getting recognized as Leia if you have these going, but they're not the regulation buns. All right, so this is one of my hair extension pieces. Hold it. It's from Arda. I really like their stuff. They have great value, and this color matches, the lighting in this bathroom is not the best, but it matches my hair really well. I have a friend who does my hair for me and dyes it to cover all my white hair, and I had her match it since I really like the color anyway, and it's close to what my hair would be. So when you're dealing with long bits of hair like this, please start brushing from the bottom. If you try to start brushing from the top, it will only end in tears. I tend to like using a table to brush this out, kind of fighting with the folks who have TK armor, because they like to lay their pieces out too, or Darth Vader also needs to lay pieces out. But I can also do it hanging up like this, which is what I'm showing now. So I like to get it brushed out. I keep them I keep the pear in a Glad plastic container, round, kind of wrapped up a little bit, and I'll usually put the lid on, and I'll also put the bobby pins in there, and this goes in the bottom of the garment bag where I have all my Leia dress. So this is one of the long clip-in ponytails, or long clip-in extensions. I took the, my alarms. I took the clip out. Sorry, my Fitbit alarm's going off. I took the clip out and I sewed in a wire comb. I prefer the wire combs to the plastic ones because they will bend and they will not snap. And I had a bunch of these wire combs left over from when I made my wedding veil. But they're cheap. Okay, so I've got it positioned, I've got it pretty nice and smooth, and this is where things get exciting. You want to make sure the hair is falling over the top and that any little drawstrings are inside. So what I do is I then put it kind of, it's hard to see with that, start the comb an inch or two up from the bun and then slide it down to anchor it on top of that top bun. And what you may need to do to keep that in place is anchor it with some hairpins. I feel like I didn't always do that, but recently I've been doing that. And it helps it feel more secure. Once I get the buns on, I've never worried about them coming off. Okay. So, I wouldn't mind if my underbun was a little bit flatter. Okay, so I say so a lot, apologies. If my dad was watching, he would totally call me out on that. But I stopped saying like all the time, so there's that at least. I should probably look back to double check this, but I believe her bun, it twists back away from her face. So I'm gonna do that this way for this one, and if I'm wrong, just pretend I'm on the other ear. So when you've got your hair smooth, start twisting gently towards the back. You don't want these twists to be tight. But what I find is helpful is if I get a twist, here I'll step back. If I get a twist all the way down towards the bottom, because it's harder to twist it when it's on top. Okay, so you can kind of see. So now I'm holding this over here and I'm gonna pull this over like this. Oops, yeah, maybe you can see there. Because that first kind of twist is now gonna get wrapped over here. And I'm not twisting it now because I already twisted it. And see right there, that's a little too twisted. It helps to, again, move your head in different angles. Okay, so right now, hopefully, this is a little tighter. I'm gonna use the big mirror. Oh, nope. Oh, that was not close enough. Okay. All right, so a lot of times you have to do this a couple times. So if you noticed, I was nowhere near covering that front bun. The front braid in my underbun. So I'm actually gonna flatten that front bun a little more. See how that's a little bit flatter? Okay. Now, when you see what happens is when you have to redo it, and if you want it smooth, you've got to rebrush a bit. Okay. is you can't get stuck on making it perfect, especially if you're at a troop and you have a start time at, I don't know, 11 and you get there at 10. You can't spend more than an hour getting your buns on. Okay. All right, so it's a little twisted too tight. So I'm gonna throw some bobby pins in the top and see how I can do arranging, because this is sticking out too much. Okay, that's a little bit better. So this part, I'm pretty happy with where that's falling. So I'm weaving that in. I think in the back. It's important to train the people you troop with a lot to know what it should look like. So if you're feeling paranoid, they can give it a look. All right, I'm gonna take, so this piece, these are kind of the, my split ends in theory, and I don't even remember which way that was getting, but that's gonna get pinned. The thing that's a little harder about the Arda hair is, I guess it's a little heavier than some other brands, but it's not as, like this roll, well you can't see it, this roll part here is thicker on some of the other extensions. So right now you can see my hair underneath. So I'm going to weave this in. All right, and that's a little bit flatter. And right here is the ends. So I'm actually gonna use a regular type bobby pin. So I'm going to, see my under bun was starting to stick out a little bit. This right now is sticking out too much for my liking. So that's where even more pins. That's better. Oops. There is a point where you just have to say enough is enough. Like that sticking out. I usually don't end up using hairspray, and I'm gonna roll this up a little bit more. I usually don't end up using hairspray. I haven't found the flyaways. Ooh, okay, I lost that. So if I was actually going out, what is that? Is that my bun? Still sticking out here a little bit more than I'd like, but close enough. And then you want to feel around. Selfies are your friend. So I wouldn't mind if this was a little smoother, but just at least gives you an idea of how I do this. And it's pretty sturdy. It's stuck on there. It's not going anywhere. All right, and that's it. 20 minutes later, that's one bun. And I do it a little faster when I'm not talking and getting distracted by explaining and videoing. So let me know if you have questions. Good luck, and may the force be with you.